Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the point with Omar and Ibadat. And with me, as always, is my brother Omar. Assalamu alaikum, man. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm good. How about you?
I'm great, man. I'm great.
Great. Brilliant.
As everyone may or may not know, we didn't make last week's podcast, and that's been a bit of a bummer
Yeah.
because we're all about consistency here, and well, shit
Shit
happens in
happens.
life.
Jinx. Shit
So,
happens.
but we're back. We're back with another topic that we'd lined up. I can't for the life of me remember what we wanted to do last week, so I guess the topic disappeared with the week and the episode.
True.
So this week we're gonna do hobbies and the fact that they're disappearing from our lives like this.
Really fast.
I
Really fast.
no idea, no freaking idea why, but
I
they are.
I still remember there used to be a time when you wanted to really get to know someone, you first thing you would ask is that what are your hobbies? Are you into music? What sort of music? Are you into movies or are you into gardening? And gardening used to be like one of the favorite hobbies. Like
Tell me about it, man. I
indoor.
believe,
You were into it as well.
yeah,
I was into
yeah,
it.
both
Okay?
of us were. I
We
think
still
that was one of the
are.
things we kind of are. It's just that other things have taken so much of our time that
Yeah.
we need to get back to gardening seriously.
Definitely we do.
But
We do.
but yeah, continuing on from where you left off, gardening was one thing that we really were invested into when we were younger.
Yeah.
So I honestly can't understand why people don't talk about these things anymore. Because now when you meet someone new, the first thing they ask is, so where do you work?
Money talks, and like you always say, rat race and all that. So I guess it's all about the money now.
Bad, man. That's bad.
It is
so
bad,
It would
but
seem. So it would seem.
yeah, it is bad. Definitely, it is bad.
So yeah, we just wanted to get this off our chests, like, because hey, we're all about hobbies as well.
Yeah,
So, um, why is it that the incoming generations, or even our generation for that matter, why they no longer talk about doing something like in their free time, in their daily lives, even? I mean, physical fitness or running
yeah,
can be considered a hobby. I mean, it's really basic, as it were, but it's still something.
it
You
is something.
run,
It is definitely something. Yeah, it.
yeah.
The problem,
I mean,
the problem, it's all started जब से ये social media, जब से ये the internet has taken over our lives. ठीक है, we normally think that to distress we need to go back to social media. ठीक है, and social media is a pit जहाँ पे एक दफ़ा आप घुस जाते हैं वहाँ से निकलना बहुत मुश्किल है. One lane lead to another one, और वहाँ से फिर आप चलते चलते जो है you waste about hour and two and you don't even realize that. Now, most of the time the outcomes are zero unless and otherwise if you're watching like any tutorial videos or how to make a sandwich videos, those ones. So
absolutely.
unless and until you do that, okay, you're just wasting time. Whereas in hobbies, you were actually learning skills. You were learning how to garden stuff. You were used to learn about the physique, how a human body works, and then you would go on running and taking supplements or whatever you wanted to do.
Not only that, how to surpass your limits as well. I mean, if you take up something like running, one day, I mean, you break it down to say you cover 3 kilometers in 10 minutes. So the next day, I mean, you would personally want to cross that limit.
Yeah.
So you start looking up things, you start finding out how to change your diet or how to change your exercise regime that would help you surpass that goal.
Exactly.
So it's literally, I mean, like any other hobby, it's got depth, it's got complexity. It challenges you.
It develops you. Personally, it's a personal development. It's a personal development. But
Yep, yep.
sadly, like I said, internet took over our lives. We got bogged down into this era of entertainment so much that we almost forgot other activities. We don't talk about hobbies. Like, I remember when you and I met, ठीक है, we used to talk about a lot of hobbies. We still have a lot of similar hobbies, and I think that is one of the reason that we got along so well. We were into gardening. Do you remember the wall we tried to make with those stones?
Oh yeah, yeah. I still remember that. It
I
was, I
mean,
believe, for your aquarium or something, or we
yes,
were
I
trying to
mean,
build an aquarium fountain out
something
of
like
it.
that. So, it was a waterfall. It was a waterfall.
Yep, yep.
I think we were very ambitious, and we
A
didn't
little
really
too
plan it out.
ambitious.
We didn't plan it
Yeah.
out. But the thing is that
Although, quite frankly, I think we should take this up again because I think we have a better idea of how things work now. Because
yeah,
in terms of waterproofing, in terms of giving it a good base, and then sealing off all of the cracks in the wall,
exactly.
that would probably work this time. We got to give it another
Hopefully,
try.
finger crossed. Finger crossed. But see, the thing is that it gave us the platform uh, to create a bond. And sadly nowadays, this is one of the problems that in most of the relationship, it let it be friend or brother or a sister or a husband and wife, they tend to find themselves a bit at distant. ठीक है, जब आप एक चीज़ सेम शेयर कर रहे हैं, आप में उस वक्त जो है जो जो बॉन्डिंग टाइम होता है, जो आप जो टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं साथ में, दैट इज़ रियली प्रेशियस. ठीक है, अब अगर आपकी हॉबीज़ मैच नहीं कर रही या कोई जो है वो हॉबीज़ लेना ही नहीं चाह रहा, तो वो टाइम जो है, वो जो एक बॉन्डिंग टाइम की जो ऑप्शन थे, वो आप उसको यहाँ पे किल कर रहे हैं, यू नो.
Yep.
और
You get
हम
severely
लोग
limited by that.
एग्जैक्टली लाइक जैसे आपने उस वक्त बात की है शुरू में कि हम लोग पैसे बनाने में इतने बिजी हो गए कि हमारी जो प्रायोरिटी है ना इस वक्त, वी थिंक दैट व्हाट विल हॉबीज गेट अस, नथिंग. We think that, ठीक है, it's not a reality. I'm not saying it's a reality. We think that it's a waste of time, rather than
Not only that, it's only a worthwhile hobby if it gets you or earns you something.
exactly.
That's the other problem.
And people say that instead of taking up a hobby, why don't we actually invest our time in work. ठीक है, ओवर टाइम कर लेते हैं या उससे रिलेटेड वर्क रिलेटेड कर लेते हैं. द प्रॉब्लम इज़ वी ऑलरेडी हैव सो मच स्ट्रेस. We find ways to bring more stress rather than taking a hobby and distressing ourselves. एक तो पहाड़ हमारे पास होता है, हम एक और अपने ऊपर लाते थे. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I know. I know.
And I think, and our priorities have been shifted severely, और इतनी ज़्यादा हो चुकी हैं कि हमें हॉबीज़ के बारे में ना तो ख्याल आते हैं और ना ही कभी हमने सोचा कि यार हॉबीज़ भी कोई चीज़ होती है. Frankly speaking, I know most of the people who are listening, it's a question to them. कि when was the last time you did actually something that you love, that you wanted to do for a very long time? Let it be a piano lessons, let it be guitar की practice आप कर रहे हैं, या woodwork like you and your wife आप लोग जो करते हैं. So the thing is कि we have shifted severely from the path which really help us to develop ourselves, So I think we have to find our roots कि what are the reasons, what are the real reasons कि हम लोग जो है पैसे के पीछे भाग रहे हैं, और भाग रहे हैं तो क्यों भाग रहे हैं. And sadly the problem is when we ask someone, they say that future secure कर रहे हैं. But COVID was the prime example जिसने बताया कि भाई nobody knows about the future. you don't know what lies ahead tomorrow. Let it tomorrow तो दूर की बात है, हमें ये नहीं पता अगले घंटे में क्या होने वाला है. 9/11, it took place within 15 minutes. 15 minutes, the world has never been same since 9/11, you know. It was just 15 minutes. So तो ये नहीं है कि जो है हम फ्यूचर के बारे में सोच रहे हैं. ओके, सोचना चाहिए, दैट इज़ वेरी गुड, बट वाई डोंट यू ब्रिंग दैट इनटू एज अ हॉबी कि think about it, when you retire, when you have a lot of time, what are you going to do with that? If you have actually learned a hobby और आप साथ साथ अपने टाइम के वो सीख ही जा रहे थे, you might be able to carry on some side business or something like that, you know. Like I make videos with drone and I have created, I mean, I will be honest कि कुछ टाइम से जो है obviously ज़रा प्रॉब्लम्स की वजह से मैं नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन मैंने जो वीडियोस बनाई हैं and I uploaded them on the system. Now on and off they do sell and थोड़े से पैसे मिलते हैं, $10, $15, $25, but eventually I am getting something out of it. It's nobody can say that, you know, it's a waste of time. It's a life skill. I know how to edit a video. I know how to write a script, sort of in an informal way, of course. But the thing is that you can actually build something on those. God forbid something goes wrong. You have some skills which you can rely on to look for the other options, rather than we bog down into our daily lives. But sadly, we're not doing that. We really aren't doing that. And perks are,
And
yeah,
at the same time, it's not just about we're not doing that. It's also more about that we take every opportunity to make excuses as to why we're not doing that.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, on one hand, you have opportunity, you have time, you have everything. I mean, it's the same 24 hours for everybody else as it is for, say, us. We're going to talk about us because we don't know any other better examples.
Yeah,
I mean, improvement starts with oneself. So, technically speaking, we found the time for things. It's not like the time found us. We had to work for it. We had to rearrange schedules. I mean, personally speaking, we didn't talk for like months on end. I mean, it would just be a few messages here and there that we exchanged because we were busy. We're like everybody else. We were also busy.
yeah,
But at the same time, we were setting up opportunities for ourselves in terms of our hobbies. There was a time until we both were doing wedding photography, if you remember. So that started off as a hobby.
Yeah.
You were the first one of us to get a DSLR, and then that was the day, and it's today that we're sitting here and using all of that equipment that we gained along the way and the knowledge and the experience, and we're doing this. We're making podcasts.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not just going to Amazon or to Newegg or something and buying a cheap microphone kit and just starting a podcast. It's a little more than that. I mean, contrary to popular belief, it's a little more than that.
Exactly.
So, but this is the thing. We stopped making excuses. We used to make excuses as well. It's not like we're some really what do you call it? We're not God gifted.
Perfectionist
we're not,
or
we
something
don't have
like that.
exactly. We weren't blessed with some extra skill or extra hours in a day. No, we used to make the same excuses. We used to procrastinate. We used to not have time for our hobbies. You know, like everybody else. We just don't have the time. No, we used to say that. We used to say that. We used to ignore them. We used to get our things, like even take the example of our cameras and stuff. We used to get them and they would just sit there for months on end. The batteries just draining away and we wouldn't even be bothered to pick it up. So
Yeah.
it happens. It
सी द
happens,
प्रॉब्लम इज
but
कि एक्सक्यूज जो हम लोग बनाते हैं ना टाइम का, I'm gonna be pretty blunt and I'm gonna be pretty open. Everyone has the time to do something that they really like. If you're not doing that, it means you're not serious about it. If you're
no, it's
serious
not just
about it,
about being serious about it. It's more about um, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't take the opportunity. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're
yeah,
harming yourself in the long term.
exactly. Like देखो, मैं उस हिसाब से कह रहा हूँ कि there are multiple times where you have time in a day, but rather than spending that time on the skills, you would be spending on something useless.
Useless. Yeah.
I'm gonna be pretty honest with you. Like if each of us give analysis to ourselves, ठीक है, self analysis अगर करते हैं, we can somehow make at least 30 minutes of the time. You know, some of us goes to washrooms with our mobile phones and they spend like 15 20 minutes. I do that.
More than more than they're supposed to. I mean, come
Exactly.
on, you're in there to do your business. You take 5 minutes. You either dump or you don't,
See,
and
I
and
do
you're out.
that. So that's I'm gonna be guilty. Okay, I'm guilty as charged. I do that. But the thing is कि we don't take it as an excuse कि यार मेरे पास जो है ये podcast बनाने का time नहीं, because I'm spending like 20 to 30 minutes in a bathroom while taking a dump. It's not an excuse. Okay, you are creating an excuse for yourself, for your laziness. You're blaming your laziness
Absolutely.
onto something. It's not something that you can blame on. It's you have to blame it on yourself, you know. And hobbies, see the problem is कि hobbies को हम लोग as a बड़ा light लेते हैं. Now the perfect example is books, ठीक है, reading. I remember when we were in A levels, that was the time when I actually started getting into books, thankfully because of you. I remember The Captain's Punishment, right? That was the book.
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment. Crime and
Crime and
Punishment.
Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, in case anyone is interested.
I have not completed it yet. I'm gonna be honest with you, but the start of that book got me addicted into reading. I mean, addiction मेरी ये ऐसे नहीं है कि जो है मैं बहुत ज़्यादा thoroughly जो है या उसको religiously मैं follow करता हूँ. On and off I do read. But the thing is that, you know, the things you learn from the book, and especially from real life stories, we take them as for granted. See, you have to understand कि जो writer है उसने कुछ years, या ज़ाहिर बात है कि उसने जो है ज़िंदगी अपनी गुजारी हुई है, तो जो उस बुक में वो डाल रहा है तो उससे वो लिंक करके डालेगा. वो मतलब ये कुछ ऊट पटांग जो है वो नहीं डालेगा unless it's a science fiction. But if you're talking about autobiography, ठीक है, you basically उसने अपने पूरे 40 साल 50 साल 60 साल, ठीक है, जैसे नेल्सन मंडेला या एलन मस्क एंड ऑल दीज पीपल, दिस फेमस पीपल, उन्होंने अपनी पूरी स्टोरी आपको एक बुक फॉर्मेट में दे दी है जो कि आप 1 महीने में या 20 दिनों के अंदर ख़त्म कर सकते हैं. नाउ जस्ट इमेजिन कि 50-60 सालों में जो उसके साथ हुआ है या जो उसने बुक में लिखा है, यू कैन गेट ऑल दैट इंफॉर्मेशन विद इन 15 to 20 days. मतलब मैं थोड़ा सा ज़रा बफर दे के दे रहा हूँ. नाउ यू डोंट हैव टू लिव द सेम लाइफ, or you don't have to make same mistakes, and you surely don't have to wait for 50-60 years to get all that information and experience. It's readily available for you. But yet I think autobiography is one of the I could be wrong, but I assume it's one of the unfamous category जो कि लोग अमूमन जो है उसको निगलेक्ट कर देते हैं, unless and until या जैसे अगर आप किसी को सपोर्ट करते हैं.
Reading is concerned, what you're talking about is non-fiction reading. To an extent, I'm gonna agree with you on that. Nonfiction is a little dry.
Yeah,
Nonfiction is, well, nonfiction. If it's
it's
not
it's
written,
it's a it's a based upon life. Life is dry, to be honest.
true, but if it's not written in an interesting enough way, people aren't going to be, reading it for long,
Yeah,
even if they do pick it up. So
yeah.
the counterbalance to that is that when you mentioned science fiction, I was a little, you know, I didn't really agree with that. That science fiction is crap. No, it's not crap.
No, no, I didn't say
Sorry,
crap. No,
but
it's not a
the
crap.
the thing is that even science fiction or fiction in general,
Hmm.
but specifically science fiction, since you mentioned it,
Yeah.
even that has roots, or its ideas are based off of real science or real scientific imagination, as it were. Because right now these may be just concepts,
Exactly.
which the writer or the author um, turns it into a reality. So what the authors will be doing is that they're taking up current day conceptual ideas and reading about them and educating themselves along the way. As if you I want to draw a parallel between what you mentioned about autobiographies. So the way people lived those lives and then wrote about them. Similarly, for fiction, what authors do is that they go and talk to people who are foremost in their fields, and they gain information from them about what they're doing, what they're researching, and then they add the element of fantasy or fiction to that reality that is today, that is actually today, and then
Right.
write a whole story about it as though it were a real thing.
Right. And
So
I
even
think prime
that
example
has
is self-driving car. I mean, I believe अगर 20 साल 30 साल पहले अगर इसमें किसी साइंस फिक्शन में आपने लिखा होता कि आप दे यू विल बी सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार टेस्ला नाउ दैट वी हैव अब उस वक्त
absolutely.
ज़ाहिर बात है अगर वो किसी ने पढ़ा है या इलॉन मस्क ने भी अगर साइंस फिक्शन पढ़ी है तो बात ये कि उसने कहीं से आइडिया तो लिया है या उसने कहीं से क्या कहते हैं उसको स्टार्ट तो किया उसने कहीं ना कहीं से
Definitely,
कहीं से
definitely.
आइडिया तो
These
आया
ideas are born from
और
things like science fiction or fiction.
एग्जैक्टली
So yeah.
ट्रू नाउ
So
व्हाट
as
डू यू
far
थिंक
as
आई मीन आई विल आस्क यू समथिंग
go on.
I think you have been to different across companies. ठीक है, you shifted a few organizations, and you came across different people, different, especially the insurance में भी जब थे तो वहाँ पे भी काफ़ी लोग थे. उसके बाद जो है then you went to my clinic, and now you are in MR. Now, why do you think that people are abandoning the hobbies or they don't even bother about it? Now we're talking about those जो इंडस्ट्री में लोग काम कर रहे हैं. I'm not talking about those who have time or something like that, but time तो हर एक के पास ही होता है, but I'm talking about those working class category. Why do you think people are abandoning it?
Yeah, I wish I had a real answer to that, to be honest. And I feel like it's got a lot more to do with our culture than anything else. The way we are engineered as a society to grow up and earn money, and that
Yeah.
being the primary focus of our lives. That I think has a lot to do with the mindset that is currently prevailing with regards to hobbies, because somewhere along the way in this kind of education or in this kind of conditioning, there is no room for hobbies or in their terms wasting time, because apparently it's looked upon as a waste of time. If it's not generating you money, it's a waste of time. It's as simple as that, which is sad, to say the least.
Yep.
And I don't know. I've met with people from other nationalities, and they seem to be doing just fine. They have hobbies. Some of them played music. I knew a female colleague. She would play the violin. She did wedding photography for God knows how many years. I mean, she was a diver, and yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, you ask people from our area, Southeast Asia, that like, what do you do for your free time? Nothing. I just watch TV. I like this talk show. Yeah, I really like this talk show. Okay, so what else do you
I hope
for
you're
fun?
talking about to the point.
Somehow I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt
As
it
long
too.
as we're not, I mean, if we were a political talk show, then yeah, sure, probably.
With
But
bunch of people fighting over some issue and
exactly,
resulting with no outcome.
resulting with no outcome, with no agreement, with no point really,
Yeah.
and the same discussion happens the next day with uh, different actors,
Mm.
and it's very repetitive. It's very repetitive and pointless.
Mm.
That's what bothers me. But that aside, for some reason, people really enjoy that. Our people really enjoy that.
Yeah.
The whole finger pointing and the blaming and the name calling and all of that. So I don't see what it does productively. Like, does it give you knowledge? Does it give you, because the main argument these people had when I confronted them was that it keeps you up to date with world events. On
See,
the
someone
surface, it
having exactly.
sounds
See, it's if you
no, no,
really
no.
want to.
What the issue is that on the surface it sounds very what do you
Promising.
call it, intellectual? No, no, it
Huh.
sounds very intellectual that I am up to date with world events. But in reality, what's the point?
You're just
So
watching
so
bunch of
what
people
if
argumenting, having arguments, not even discussions, arguments. It's
arguments?
straight
Yeah.
away arguments.
And keeping yourself up to date with world events gets you what? What does it teach you? What do you gain from it in terms of knowledge or experience or any of these things? What does it do for you? This
Exactly.
this keeping up to date with world events. Does it, I don't know, increase
See,
your
the
knowledge
point
about
is, see, if you're watching some those channels which show a lot about the latest innovations or the science, we can say कि जो है वहाँ से कुछ सीखने के लिए आपके पास है. लेट इट बी इवन ऑन दी टी वी फॉर्मेट, ठीक है, तो आप वहाँ से कुछ ना
hmm
कुछ लर्न कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, दैट इज़ वेल एंड गुड. बट these talk shows and these soap operas, I doubt you get any. Rather than, you know what, I'm gonna be really open over here. In our society there is a lot of issues which arises from these so-called ड्रामा सीरियल्स, ठीक है, जो कि
hmm
अब पहले तो सिर्फ टीवी में होता था, अब जो है थैंक्स टू यूट्यूब इट्स अवेलेबल readily on your smart devices. So no matter where you are, you will find this at your homes, ठीक है. Now the problem is in our media, I'm talking about generally about Pakistan. In our media, what we have is that, you know, we want to show the spiciness. We want to show कि ये चीज़ें होती हैं, और basically to sell their product. अब उस सेल कैसे करना है, उनको पता है कि यार ये लड़ाई झगड़े की बातें करो, ये जो है, ये सास बहू की जो है, ये चीज़ बात करो, एंड इट विल सेल. Because
hmm
eventually when they will have some argument, they will be like, oh, उस ड्रामे में यही हुआ था, तो यहाँ पे भी यही हो रहा है. So people will start assuming things, and once you start assuming, the relationship goes down the drain, right? But
hmm
that is not reality. We are basing the reality over some TV shows. I mean, I'm not saying that, you
absolutely.
know, those are 100% inaccurate. There are cases
hmm
like that happens in real life,
Definitely,
but
definitely.
not every uh, situation is same. Not every couple is same. Not every family is same. नॉट इवन ट्विंस जो जुड़वा होते हैं वो भी सेम नहीं होते यार, उनकी भी लाइकिंग डिफरेंट होती है, उनकी भी अपना लाइकिंग होती है, अपनी प्रेफरेंस होती है. सो हाउ कैन यू से दैट जो फैमिलीज होंगी वो सेम होंगी. तो अब इससे होता क्या है कि वहाँ से आपने जो है एजम्पशन शुरू कर लिए हैं और आपने अपने दिलों में जो है बातें बिठा ली हैं, वहाँ से जो है डिप्रेशन शुरू हो गया है. तो रेदर देन इन्वेस्टिंग टाइम in self development, we are investing time in self destruction, frankly speaking.
Word.
And that is the problem, this the biggest problem. There was a time जब हम लोग जो है जो टाइम था हम लोग कहते थे कि यार इंडियन जो है, क्योंकि उसमें ऑफ कोर्स जो है वो थोड़ा सा रिलीजन वाइज जो डिफरेंट होता है वो अपने बच्चों को ना दिखाओ. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज़ कि just go onto the internet and find what these so-called drama serials are talking about. They are talking about weird ass shit, honestly. And we are all watching
I really
it.
would rather not.
Or people are watching it.
Things to do.
See, that's what I'm saying. That we have considered this menace as our hobby. ठीक है, हम लोग जो है लेकिन अब बात ये आती है कि हम लोगों को वो गाइडेंस नहीं मिली, या हम लोगों ने गाइडेंस, देखो कुछ हद तक गाइडेंस मिलने की ज़रूरत होती है, कुछ हमें खुद ही डेवलपमेंट करनी पड़ती है. लेकिन बात ये है कि अगर हमें डेवलपमेंट की पुश नहीं मिली या हमने खुद ही कोशिश नहीं की, तो फिर हमें तो ज़ाहिर बात है, जो जिसे अल्लाह भी कहता है कि भाई जो कौम अपनी खुद मेहनत नहीं करना चाहती या खुद अपनी हेल्प नहीं करना चाहती, उसके जो है मदद थोड़ी मिलेगी. तो बात ये है कि we are wasting our time in self destruction. That's the thing. And most of us don't even realize that. Most of us do not realize that we have this issue.
That's true.
Now, instead of watching those drama series, आप कोई कुकिंग चैनल देख लें. कुकिंग चैनल देने के बाद आप जो अपने हस्बैंड के लिए खाना बनाएं, अपने ब्रदर के लिए बनाएं, आप अपने फादर इन लॉ के बनाएं, अपने फादर के लिए बनाएं, अपनी मदर के लिए बनाएं. You can do that. Eventually,
but then that indicates
अल्लाह
that you actually have an interest
किसी
in
के ऊपर अगर ये मैं सिर्फ कुकिंग की बात कर रहा हूँ कि अगर कुकिंग आपका जो है कुकिंग में इंटरेस्ट है, आपका किसी भी चीज़ में हो सकता है यार. यू कैन हैव इंटरेस्ट इन म्यूज़िक, ठीक है. इफ़ यू रियली वांट टू लर्न गिटार, देयर आर 1,000,001 वीडियोस ऑन यूट्यूब.
Fair enough. But I think
hobbies.
The real problem is the fact that people don't know what they're interested in. I think that has been taken away from them through the course of education or through the course of the way our education systems work or our society works.
Yeah.
Take your pick. They're both sort of more or less interconnected. But my point is that if what you're saying is absolutely true, I don't disagree with that. What my truck is with the fact that you're assuming that people already know what they want, which they don't. Which they don't, because they've never bothered to try anything, or they've never bothered to investigate or even explore those areas of their psyche or of their mental makeup, let's say.
That is a problem.
Would indicate to them what they're interested in. Whether they like gardening, whether they like music, like you said, or anything like that.
Exactly. This is why we spoke about self-development earlier in the podcast. That this is a part of self-development. You have to realize what you are really into. ठीक है, हमारा ये होता है कि अगर कोई डिप्रेशन आता है या किसी चीज़ को डिप्रेशन को फाइट करना है, we don't really do a self-analysis. We just go for the readily anything that is available, and we just jump onto that, rather than just utilizing this pointless
introspection
चीज़ें. ठीक है, आप जो है अपना सेल्फ एनालिसिस करें and try to find that what makes you happy. Like if I have depression or anything like that, मैं बीच पे जाऊंगा और वहाँ पे जाके सिर्फ मैं बैठ जाऊंगा, ठीक है. इट विल गिव मी अ सेंस ऑफ डिस्ट्रेस, ठीक है. मैं जो हूँ वीडियो या कोई तस्वीरें जो हैं वो एडिट करने लग जाऊंगा, बिकॉज इट विल divert my mind onto something else rather than thinking about the problems. Well, I'm not saying that we have to run away from the problems. We have to deal with the problems, but you can
That's
only
basically what introspection
exactly
involves. I mean, it's not just going to a beach and sitting there. You're
exactly
sitting there to think.
see, you can only solve a problem when you are not stressed, and to de-stress you have to find a way how you can de-stress, because in stress you're gonna have emotions ki barsat inside you, and you won't be making a perfect decision. There are gonna be many wrong decisions you're gonna make. To make sure that you make a rational decision, you have to declutter yourself. आप ये डिस्ट्रेस करो, आप ये जो क्लस्टर ऑफ जो स्ट्रेस आपके अंदर भरा हुआ है इसको निकालो, एंड देन ट्राई टू फाइंड व्हाट इज़ द बेस्ट सोल्यूशन, एंड टू कॉम्बैट दैट आई थिंक हॉबी इज़ ए परफेक्ट थिंग. बट सैडली वी टू बिजी मेकिंग मनी, राइट, saving the future for the kids, which we Allah sabko zindagi hai, but we are not even sure what if we're gonna be alive to see tomorrow's sunrise. But no, we are busy in making the future. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sadly, we don't realize that.
Now, hang on for a sec. Booyah. Right. So I get exactly what you're saying, man. The thing to remember is that what the key driver for this seems to be is money making, or getting so involved in money making that you forget what's important to you personally, which then leads to the entire discussion about introspection and finding out what solutions, what the most effective solutions are there in your lives. So aside from that, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, see, how many people would honestly get into introspection or self analysis, or look deeply inside themselves and admit that there's something, they're doing something wrong, or they're doing themselves a disservice by not investing in a hobby? Because the first argument that pops up is that, man, hobbies take so much money. I mean, coming back to your very valid earlier point, कि क्या मैं यार अपने बच्चों के फ्यूचर के लिए सेव करूं या अपने आप के ऊपर खर्च करूं? And that's where it gets killed. That's where it just immediately gets wiped out. The desire to invest in a hobby, because the word invest comes in the middle, and I believe that it ties back to the whole thing that I keep harping on about the education system. Because you're classically trained by the system, by society, by everyone around you, that you have to get up and earn money, period, whether it be for a fictional house or an apartment or something in way
that
ahead
eventually
in
you're
the
gonna
future,
own
or
after
during your retirement,
some 20
or
30 years
for your children, or for your I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it, because you present yourself, or you pull through one set of problems, and then you're immediately confronted with another set of problems that serve to just block the whole introspection process and prevent you from working on yourself. And I believe that that needs to be honestly broken down. These walls, these barriers that keep popping up, they're the ones that need to be broken down. Because as you're thinking about taking up a hobby, there are a million and one arguments that you yourself present to your thought process. That how can I take up a hobby at this age, or how will I learn how to do this, or how will I find the money to spend in all of this? You will. You
Exactly.
The answer to all of these things is you will, should you choose to do so.
There is a will, there is a way.
That's where I think where there's a will, there's a way. That's the important thing to remember and to to take seriously, I guess. I don't really have another way of putting it right now, because if you don't take it seriously, if you don't consider that you will believe and it will happen, rather than just sitting there and presenting arguments against it by yourself before even facing all of the arguments that will come from the people around you, who once they find out that you're going to do this are going to present all of society's arguments that you just defeated within yourself,
No,
and
there
then
is
you
a
have to
very
face those arguments.
sorry, I'm cutting you off, but that is a really interesting point. Society क्या कहेगी, लोग क्या कहेंगे, you know, the famous लोग क्या कहेंगे.
Yeah,
we
that.
we have failed to recognize this log. Who are these log? The problem is okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, like there have been few people, they were saying that, you know, why you are wasting time, right? Why you are wasting time in this. See, now, see, the point is, to me, it's not a waste of time. It's a way how I distress, how I keep my motivation high, and in return, I have sold few of my videos online as stock footage, right? Now tell me, how many of you have done that? Or how many of these people have done that? Right?
How about you pull the question back a little? How many of you have actually made a video, a
Exactly.
quality production video?
That you
Now we're
can
not
sell.
talking here about no, we're not talking about mobile phone videos. We're talking about something that's high quality, that's production value, that has ability to be sold on the market as stock footage, like you said.
Exactly.
So
Because I'm going to be honest
you
with
can,
you, there are million and one videos, billions in fact,
of
billions of
course,
stock
that's what stock
footages.
footage is by nature.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is that you can do this with a pretty good phone. I mean, you don't need a full set of equipment and everything to accomplish that. You can pretty much do that with a really decent phone with an excellent camera and stuff, and then
Yes.
do some post processing and editing,
Mm.
and you can actually get something that's production value.
Exactly. Like I'm gonna give you example of iPhone. The latest when they are promoting their latest iPhones, right? Most of the videos they show they have been captured by the iPhone, right? There is no special camera needed. All for those. Okay, lighting is there, and you know all those strobe effect and foggy machines are there. But when they're talking about the camera, it's just an iPhone that is in my hand, you know, that is in your hand. They're doing that. They're making cinematic sort of videos, not even sort of, they are cinematic videos. They're doing that with the phone. So there are million and one things you can do if you really want to do, and I don't think it's a waste of time. Rather than, I think not doing something like that is a waste of time.
True. Because see, as you pick up hobbies along your life, you learn skills, you learn new ways of thinking, you learn new ways of doing things. You learn and grow as a person, and these skills, these abilities, they help you change both physically and mentally, depending on whatever kind of hobby that you've picked up. Say gardening, for example, you take that, you start learning patience, you start learning to think in the longer term, like if I plant a seed today, when will I get the fruit for it? So if I take up gardening today, I'm going to plant tomatoes, I'm going to plant peppers, I'm going to plant carrots. So these are vegetables that I can actually get results from, say, within 6 to 12 months.
Hmm.
What's so hard about that? That's that only comes if you have a vision right now, if you have a vision today. So say you start gardening or taking care of a plant that you bought from a nursery or a garden goods store. So
Yeah.
you're going to take that plant, you're going to take care of it, you're going to plan your day ahead, because the earlier example sort of gave a much longer term planning. Let's
Mm.
just take a regular plant that anyone can do, anyone can go out and grab,
Yeah.
and they're going to put it up in a nice sunny spot, make sure it has enough sunlight, it's open to windows or any source of indirect light or direct light, depending on the plant that they have. See, okay, forget that. The plant that they get, they'll ask the people at the garden center that what are its needs. Does it need direct sunlight? Does it need indirect sunlight? So that'll help you decide, like, where are you going to keep it? Where are you going
Mm.
to make sure that it stays, so that it keeps getting its maximum amount of nutrition. So
Mm.
based on all of these things, you automatically start thinking in a certain way that over time, as you keep at it, if you keep at it consistently, and
Mm.
you keep taking care of that plant as a genuine hobby, or as a genuine something that you want to do,
Mm.
you're going to start thinking differently. You're going to start finding patience within yourself. You're going to start uh, say becoming more punctual, say, for example, because say you only have say 5 minutes or so during the day where you will get to water that plant. So you do
Mm.
it while you're getting ready for work. Once you're ready, right before going out, you take a small bottle or something of water, and you just water your plant, and off you go.
Mm.
That creates a sense of or
Responsibility.
at
Mm.
least both a sense of responsibility, yeah, and
Patience as
punctuality,
well.
because
Punctuality.
you made it part of your routine. You made something that isn't exactly belonging to that routine of going to work, because when you
Mm.
go to work, you have breakfast, you get up, you shower, you change clothes, you have breakfast. Sorry, you don't have breakfast right after getting up, but you have breakfast, and then you're out that door, into your car, and on your way to work. Now
Yeah.
you interrupted that routine, and you added something that's completely unrelated. So
Mm.
you sort of created a mental interruption.
Mm.
Let's say you created something
Exactly.
that brings you a little bit closer to nature, a little bit closer to something that is not as sterile and as closed off as your working environment. So you have something that is natural, that needs something, and you've made it a part of your routine, like, say, when you're going to work, or when you're coming from work, or the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, anything
So
like that,
basically,
because
see, so basically, you are training your mind to allow it to create more possibilities or more उसको endurance आप उसके बढ़ा रहे हैं कि जो है it can take up more action, more task. So it will be
not
ready
just that,
to
you
fight
it,
any problems in case they arise.
mhm, mhm.
To fight those issues. You are creating a sort of endurance for your mind, for your routine.
You are not just endurance, but you're also giving your mind pathways to thinking differently. These
Yeah.
are literally, if we're taking the gardening example a little further, it's planting the seeds of action in your mind. If you don't have these qualities or these abilities right now, they won't pay off later, because they start appearing in small ways in your daily life.
Mm.
As you keep going along, as you do that, you may start realizing that, hey, I'm a little more patient than I used to be, because there is this coworker that really pissed you off all the time, and you couldn't stand to be around him. But after a couple of months, you start realizing that this guy doesn't piss you off all that much. Sure, he pisses
Yeah.
you off, but you're able to listen to uh, lot more things coming from him, or you're able to spend more time in his company than you used to. So that sort of realization hits after a while, after maybe 2 or 3 months. But what started that off was just taking care of this one little plant that you bought one fine day, and you thought, you're going to just incorporate that somehow into your life. So it
Mm.
all started from that, and yet it led to a big change. So it's got that small impact, big outcome change, and sorry, small change, big impact kind of
Mm.
philosophy behind it. So yeah, I mean, as far as this idea is concerned, that what good will it do to you, as far, if I take up a hobby today, how's it going to benefit me? These are certain ways that it can benefit you. uh,
Mm.
Physical exercises, like we mentioned, running in the beginning, that's like a prime example of physical and mental well-being. Physical well-being, because obviously you're more fitter, you're more athletic, your endurance level has increased, so you can
Mm.
do a lot more during the day. You don't get as tired as easily, you don't get
Yeah.
and all of the mental benefits that come from this physical activity.
Mm.
So there's all sorts of things, the dopamine release that you get from doing something that you enjoy, or achieving something. um, you know there's that, and then there's the general release of feel good chemicals that you get from doing any sort of physical activity, that
Mm.
if you do it in the morning, it'll take you through the rest of the day with this uplifted feeling that you never used to have before, because hey, you didn't run before.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you're talking how it benefits you, this is how it can benefit you, both physically and mentally.
Mm. True. I guess
So
we all need to do a self-analysis to see that of course, this hobby is a part of self-development as well, if you will.
yep,
Like
yep,
we
absolutely.
we spoke about it like in few recent podcasts. Now
Hmm.
it is up to you. No one is coming to save you. ये समंदर में आप अकेले तैर रहे हैं, तो आपने खुद ही अपने आप को बचाना है, आपको कोई बचाना नहीं आएगा. If you
Like we
really
said, there's no such thing as external motivation. Motivation comes from within. Your
within from
motive,
within.
I mean, just to clarify, there's a big difference between motivation and inspiration. I feel like people confuse these two terms way too often.
Yeah.
Motivation is where you have a motive, a goal that you intend to work towards. Inspiration is where you listen to our podcast and get inspired to go running next day. Just saying.
And it dies off. And it
So
dies off. If unless and until you are motivated, um, inspiration is a short term, I would say. आप किसी
both,
की
I'd say both
हाँ.
are short term, because say you get inspired to do something today by either listening to us, or by reading something, or by listening to someone else, or hearing someone talk, or even a speech. So you get inspired by it, but you're not motivated to follow through on that inspiration, because you don't have a clear goal, you don't have an idea as to what you want to achieve. And motivation is what is going to allow you to work towards what it is that you want to achieve. It's like in corporate terms, a vision, or a goal, or an end result that you want to work towards. So motivation needs to come from within. No one's gonna push you or to get up early in the morning, or they're not gonna come and tell you that you need to change your diet and eat more greens so that you can feel healthier or be healthier. No one's gonna do that unless you do it
Exactly.
yourself. So getting motivated by somebody else, not gonna work. Motivating yourself to work,
That's
that
what you need.
has to work. That's what's gonna work.
Yeah. I guess it's all pretty sums up. So to wrap it up, hobbies are disappearing, but I think we all need to
They can
realize
be
that
brought back.
yeah,
They can be brought back.
they can be brought back, and they will really help you in long term. Give it a shot. We do so many tasks in our daily life which waste our time. So, just give it a shot. Give it a shot. Give it 3 months, 6 months, a year. If it doesn't work, of course, there is something else you can do. But you know what? I think if you really put your heart and mind into it and give it a try, it will definitely work. It will definitely work. So I guess that's all from my side about it. Anything from you?
Uh, Before we sign off, I just want to say that try for the small change, big impact ideology. Because if you make a small incremental change today, make tiny changes to your routine, make tiny changes to your mindset, make tiny changes to your life, even if it means taking up a hobby or doing something differently.
Mm-hmm.
A small change over the course of time, if done consistently, if you are consistent about it, it will result in a pretty big change. You're not going to realize it today, you're not going to realize it tomorrow, 2 months on, 3 months on. You suddenly find yourself moved all the way from where you're standing. You can look back and see yourself way back in the distance, that's where I used to be just 3
Exactly.
months ago. So
Exactly.
small change, big impact. Try it out. That'll help. That'll help.
Definitely, inshallah. Definitely give it a try.
I guess that's all from me today.
Brilliant.
And with that, thank you all for listening. And I guess we'll see you on the next podcast. And
Inshallah.
until then, this is Allah Hafiz from me.
Take care
Take care.
and have a good one. Assalamu alaikum.